Hello, everybody, my dear friends. We continue our PHP MySQL course, and today, next lesson, I'm going to discuss the relationship between loops and arrays. As we already know, there are four types of loops in PHP: while, do while, for, and for each. And there are two types of arrays in PHP: regular arrays with the numeric indexes and associative arrays with the named indexes. So today point is to understand relationship between loops and arrays. Of course, there is such a relationship because you cannot analyze, you cannot scan, you cannot go through arrays without loops. However, loops concept is larger. So as you saw in the previous lessons, you can use loops not necessarily to arrays. But today lesson is relationship, and we are going to see how you can scan, analyze, print array items in a loop. As usual, I prepared a series of simple web pages, simple scripts, to demonstrate the main ideas. Here we are, demo 1. I created array. It has 4 elements, 4 countries, so I took 4 former USSR republics. Now they are independent states: Belarus, Kazakhstan, Russia, and Ukraine. And I keep in one array all those countries' populations. You see Belarus 10 million approximately, Kazakhstan 18 millions, Russia 145 millions, and Ukraine 45 millions. So I'm looping from 0 to count countries. This is library function, very important function in PHP, count. It gives us the number, how many items the array has. In this particular case, count going to return us 4 because I have 4 items. But my items start from 0 and I count until 3. The last item is number 3. And I echo all my countries in a web page. So let's take a look. And you see it's perfectly working. All the populations are printed properly. So this is very simple way to go through array items using for loop. However, be careful. If you made a mistake and instead of less put less than or equal to, let's just create an issue, save the changes and refresh, you see very common error message: undefined offset 4. What does it mean? It means you don't have item 4 in your array. So you accidentally got out of the array limits. It's a very, very common issue, very common mistake, getting out of the array boundaries. So that's the correct loop, from 0 to 3, but not to 4. Okay, next demo, number 2. What I do sometimes, I start numbering my items in the array from 1. Why? Because numbering from 1 is more human friendly. So people usually don't start counting items from 0. They ask, for example, who is the first? They don't ask who is the 0. So sometimes I embed in my array dummy item I'm not going to use, and this way I can start indexing from 1. You see now the numbers for the countries changed. So I start from 1, I finish at 4. However, be careful now, this number is not 4, it's 5, because you added 1 item to your array. So you loop from 1 to count minus 1. So you looping from 1 to 4, including 4. Let's check demo 2, array with a dummy item. And as you see, it's working fine. Next demo, number 3. What's the difference? The difference is it's not a good idea to use count function inside a loop, because you're going to repeat the same task many times. Well, if you have only 4 items, it's okay. But imagine you may have 4,000 records in your database, or 4 million records in your database. Your websites may be very big, so it's obviously doesn't make sense. I am going to call million times the same function calculating the same result. So that's why simple solution is count items before the loop. So you see in line 12 how I counted my countries. So I introduced a new variable, I call it how many countries. And now this variable has 4, and my loop is now very natural and very human friendly. I start from 1, I finish at how many countries. And I don't call this function over and over again. So demo 3 is improved loop, and as usual I tested in a browser. Done. Next demo is the same loop, but now it's while. So of course you can go through the array items using while loop, and it's the question of your personal taste, whatever you like. So I initiated I'm printing the countries line 14, and I have to increase I variable by 1. So that's the same result. Of course, this web page going to be exactly the same, but I did it through while loop. And of course I can do the same using do while loop. So you see here demo 5, where I printed all the countries' populations in a do while loop. And finally, the last demo for today, it's demo 6, and I did quite important change. I don't refer countries by the numbers anymore. I'm using more natural approach. So my array doesn't have numeric indexes. My array has names. So item Belarus is 10 millions, item Kazakhstan 18 millions, item Russia 145 millions, item Ukraine 45 millions. So you see, now it's not a regular array, it's associative array. And the question is how to go through all the items, because we don't have natural order as in the previous samples. We don't have numbers, we have names. So next lesson we are going to handle this very common challenge. We are going to talk about going through associative arrays, and we are going to discuss finally for each the last type of the loop we haven't yet discussed. Thank you very much. Have a great day and wait for my next lessons. Bye bye.